Hey there, beloved Ascension Pioneers. I want to talk about my solstice experience today. Well, our solstice experience, although my beloved is not physically here now. Although he did move in exactly on the solstice, which is a beautiful experience on its own. I want to talk about the 3D period of the precession. Many asked me about this, to explain this. I mean, I was asked about this, but many are speaking about about this 3-day period, which is what I want to emphasize further on. Also in this video, I want to talk about these alignments, how the galactic energies are basically running through the core of our Earth, how they spread out, and how this is going through, and also in our own personal vortex, how we're experiencing that. I wrote some of the things down which I want to speak about so that I don't forget. Basically about the 13 gateway, which this is, we had 12 gateways. The 12th one was on the 12th, 12, 12, and 13 was on the 21st, and this Friday. Also want to share a beautiful note from my sister Kara Shalok. Also, maybe I'll share a few of others' experiences that I already received on my email, which is paluna@ascension-pioneers.org, and you can still share them as well to be in a draw for a prize, which is a book from Dolores Cannon for a Christmas present just for me. Well, this is basically what I want to talk about. Let me see. Yeah, streaming and how we are being bombarded, also, and how it's very important now for this light of the new is to be the gold, because it is a light of the golden age. And I've been speaking about this liquid gold in my previous light activation, which was an opening for this period where we are now in, this 3-day period and beyond. And I'm talking always about this. It is about the beyond. So today, firstly, I would like to start, and by the way, I am wearing gold. Maybe it's not really visible on this camera, but it's a gold sweater and with gold threads, and I just feel guided to do that and to in color also represent this. So what is happening? First of all, I want to explain how was my experience. It didn't feel like anything special aside from the fact that energy was really felt. How I feel energy is not just by sensing it, but I also feel it physically. And the whole day, which is what never happened to me before, I usually have this spot right here, in my back, which is kind of like my meridian spot where I usually feel energy. And when they're activating, where all the activated in my body, I usually feel them in my hands. So what was happening the entire day, there were intense rushes of energy, like tiny sprinkles, I don't know, tiny bubbles of light running through my spine, like rushing upwards. And usually I have that when I sit and meditate for a while. I'm like this. But this was like ongoing, non-stop surges of energy. And I felt that this must be really intense today as well. We're in the 22nd today. Basically, some call this the day after, the day of our first day after the new calendar, first day after the new count begins. Well, we won't be perceiving time linearly as much as we did before. We'll be seeing it more in cycles, and that is what's happening in my consciousness a lot. And I would like to explain how these cycles, how I see them, how I receive them through my own visions, because usually I'm here. One of my purposes is to try to explain in wordings these divine truths that come through me. And sometimes it's not easy because you just feel things. You see pictures, not physical pictures, like metaphoric imprints. You get them and then you understand things, how they're really happening, how spirit energy manifests into form. So how my day started, aside from this energy feeling, we did a meditation then, because it was the first moving day for me and my beloved, since we now cohabiting together and I have a roommate. And it was a really good day. We just let it all go, forget about all the bags and everything. We just basically wanted to be in stillness. It was a very, very peaceful day, and many reported on feeling this peace. And many said, well, I've been feeling this ongoing for the past few weeks, and it's true. We have been ongoing, and especially there was this 9-day, some call it rainbow bridge, and it basically is a rainbow bridge, because when you connect to all of your inner abilities, to all your inner multidimensional parts, you integrate the light that is rainbow, all of the rays. So you have a rainbow light spectrum that is now reachable to you because you have activated the portal, activated the doorway into that consciousness. So, but what you're really getting towards, like I've explained, is the golden light of your I am presence. And this golden liquid light is what is going to help us, what is going to assist us, through our divine self. It's not something that's coming through externally, but our own divine remembrance to our divine self about what we're going to, have to step into, the roles that we will be playing more and more predominantly in the next coming few years. So the cycle, why is it a 3-day cycle? I was just I don't know what I was guided to, but it was really weird. There is no such thing as weird. There's just no such thing as coincidences. They're just synchronicities. And yesterday I was guided to read a book from Salvador Kelly again, Messages from the Founders. That's his old previous book. He also has a new book that's called Earth Awakens, I think. And I just ordered this book, and I'm, interested in what's going to say. Although, like I said, you were constantly shifting because there's still law of the free will in this universal zone. So there's still a lot of shifting how we are going through these changes. There are changes that are galactic, that are universal, that are within the divine decree, within the divine will, divine plan of all. But there's just how we go through them is within the free will zone of the collective, of the human consciousness, how they choose to go through it as the collective of souls. So we're constantly changing these timelines. And what we've now gone through is like this whole gathering of this timeline we have chosen. So this 3-day entry point of the precession of the equinoxes is basically the merging together of these timelines. There were so many, but the predominant timeline is being anchored now. So this means that we've decided. And how I would explain this, before I explain what the 3-day period is all about, I would like to read the part of the Ascension Notes from Solstice Rising. I just have to find it because I don't know where it is in my inbox. I didn't save it right now. I'll just have to see it. Okay, Solstice Rising. I will open this and I'll read the last paragraph in this, because the last paragraph most exquisitely really explains what is happening, because so many people talk about this. And just yesterday I was reading a beautiful blog, so funny, from our sister of light, Kelly from Australia, and she made it so funny because she was like quoting all those people who said this and that, and they're saying this, the aliens will land, but no, they further then change it to they won't be landing, we have to choose it first, there'll be 3 days of darkness, oh no, but they later change it to 30 days of darkness, and so many things. And I was just laughing, and the woman basically discovered that she has to listen only to her own inner knowing. And I was like, bravo, bravo to all of you who really do that, who listen only to your divine, beautiful self and your spirit guidance. But many people say there's things that's supposed to be like this and that happening in the Ascension timeline. But the most beautiful part, how I see it, is explained here in the Ascension Notes from our beloved sister Kara. I'll read this part. It's the last paragraph, I think. Yes. We, dear ones, are creating a new paradigm. What do you intend it to be? Be as a child, full of innocence, yet with wisdom to create. The images and intentions you hold create the new world. If you still see the world as broken or get lost in the ain't it awful of the current worldview, you are missing an opportunity. Instead, hold a vision of a world of love, peace, and joy. Hold that vision for yourself first, and then ask yourself what that would look like for not only yourself, but the entire world. Oh, by the way, I will share the note below. The link will be below. The emissaries of light from the Pleiades especially have shared 2 scenarios from a few years back, remember? One was that there would be something like a rapture in which those who choose not to ascend are taken to another planet that is still 3D. The other scenario was that we stay and coexist in 2 different dimensions. There's a third one. In this potential scenario, we stay and continue our work, raising the vibration of all, including Gaia, to a place of oneness for all of life. Currently, it is the 3rd scenario that is coming to fruition, and I fully resonate with that. And as such, we ascend in our bodies. Our egos ascend as they merge completely with soul, and by being all that we are, because of unity consciousness, and time all ascend, bringing heaven to earth, and we and Gaia rise in unified vibration into the higher dimensions of love as one. What is required is for us to continue to keep our vibration high, to not energize fear, but energize love by focusing that in everything we say, feel, and do. We are now completing our 26,000-year cycle, completing what we couldn't back then, and moving into a new earth, a golden age. Because, like I said, there was this great divine master plan, which so many did not understand. Because in order to understand the divine plan of perfection, not know it fully, to understand the divine plan of perfection means that you're going along with it as it is unfolding. You just feel it. Some people might say there'd be 3 days of darkness, or 30 hours of darkness. And you're like, sorry guys, I don't feel it. Because you're already attuned to the divine plan. So many times there were things like prophecies, and we didn't experience that because it was not in the divine plan. You see, there was a timeline for that. There is a timeline for everything. You can choose everything. But there will always be something that will be chosen through the divine will. And basically, our own will is within the divine will. It's not something separate. Many people say, so I don't have a free will to go create? Well, there's a lot of things to really discuss about here, and I'll be doing that. I'll be trying to really hold the bridge between the human understanding and the divine principles of understanding in the coming months, probably, or years. I don't know. I'll be always shifting through my purpose and to simplify whatever it is, because there's still a lot of those who people call false prophets, or people who are really still talking about things and events and scenarios a lot through the mind, which basically, you know, is just giving a lot of information that they're either learned or read somewhere and they think it's right. But it's just the mind. The mind does not know through the heart. So the mind will complicate things, basically will just give you a lot of information, make you really confused. But if you stay heart-centered, you won't be confused. You will know that the truth is simple and you will just feel it. You'll say, it's just not how I feel. Yesterday I had an email from this person who thought that what I meant was when I said there's sun begins to rise again after the 25th, which is December, which is the basic principle of life. You know, the sun waits, pauses a bit for a while, then it starts rising, ascending again, you know, on the 25th, on the day of Christmas. That's what basically for me Christmas is, celebrating again the joy of life, of sun ascending again. And the person meant that I meant there will be darkness and then the sun will come up again. And I never said that. But it was funny because the person then discovered that they have to listen to themselves. It's how it is. You don't have to listen to what Polona says or anyone else, but the truth is simple. And I can attune to that truth through myself. So basically, you know, what is happening, we're shifting into this cyclical understanding of things. Time is a spiral. It's cyclical, but like cyclical spiral. And I've been talking about it, and I'll try to bring this gap, bridge this gap between this human linear understanding. This means, you know, I'll be sharing what I feel, what I'm giving through spirit, through messages, to my higher self, and try to bridge this, you know, so that the understanding becomes fused. So we have this great template of capacity to understanding things through our own heart center, so that you can see that this knowing is available to all who choose to really embrace it and understanding. It's not something that is just there for the chosen ones. For instance, I've been seeing this thing, the video someone sent me, and the person, doesn't matter who it is, it really doesn't matter, but it's someone really established as, you know, a teacher or whatever. The person was constantly saying, there's still a lot of those who are in the mind. There's still a lot of those who are in the mind, but I can show you the way through the heart. Really? How can you show the way of the heart? You know, why you keep telling people, oh, there's still a lot of those in the mind? Does this really matter? What matters is to remind you, everyone, of your own divinity. And the moment you say that there's a lot of those in the mind, there's still a lot of those, you just keep saying it. You keep putting the energy there. And you keep telling people, you know what, you're there and I'm here and I can help you. It's not really how it is. What we're here for is to establish equality and to say, look, what is given to me is given to you naturally through source right, through birth right. You just have to embrace it. That's all you have to do. And it's available for each and every one of us, you know, for every one of us. So what I wanted to say was how the energy was streaming in. First, before explaining the 3-day cycle, I'd like to explain how the energy was streaming in, how the energy does stream in, how it comes to this through the center of the galaxy, how it comes through the center of the grand central sun and into the earth. Basically, the energy, how I received this guidance, was streaming all the way, most intensely was 11:11 a.m. wherever you are at the planet. And I also saw that with the Magenta Pixie's video. It was really good. I really liked that video. And there was this golden light activation given there as well. And again, it was like, again, another golden light activation. It's like everyone now knows about the gold. We've all been bringing the same messages in our individual, unique way, but it's still the same thing. So basically, what was shared there was the 11:11 a.m. and it was the most intense wherever you felt it. And then the energy I felt was streaming like you know, like pulses. It was pulsating like breaths, you know. It was divine breaths. Every hour it was very amplified, and I noticed it in my meridian there back in my back. So the thing was, the energy was pulsating. It was really strong, and it was starting to activate. Today, it's more like already starting the integration process. So these are the 3-day periods. The third day period, like I feel it tomorrow, is more already starting to materialize, to more go in body. These are the 3-day cycle. Why is this a 3-day cycle? If you really want to know more about that, I really recommend reading Sal's book, because it's explained there in a lot of metaphysical forms, and in a physics, you have to know physics, some electromagnetic things, because it's all about the electromagnetics. When the Earth finishes this precession cycle, the Earth's magnetic field starts weakening, and a lot of the people explain this. The basic field of Earth is weakening, and this is what is causing all the changes, what is propelling all the changes. It's not about the global warming because it's a fairy tale. Our impact, our imprint is very tiny. You can watch videos from Suspicious Observer, pardon me. He explains this very beautifully. It's always about the weakening of this electromagnetic field of Earth. Then it tilts a bit, and it's not about the drastic pole shift that so many have been scaring about. It's not about this. But the shift towards a certain age, we have these constellations, now we were in the age of Pisces. That was we were tilted towards the constellation of Pisces. Now we're starting to tilt towards the constellation of Aquarius. And these are the ages. And when we gather all these ages, which are approximately, I think, 2,166 years, you get the entire, equals 12 of these ages. You get 26, basically 25,920, something like that. Ages, which was the cycle which now concluded. Okay, so when you have this, you have the whole precession. This is called the precession. And then if you go to expand the cycle even more, because it's all about the cycles, you live here in your tiny personal vortex, you're this human being here, you have your own cycle. Then you spread it onto planetary consciousness, then the solar system consciousness, then you have the galactic consciousness, the universal consciousness. And see, that is the expansion of consciousness will always equal then the awareness of that group consciousness that you expanded towards. You shifted into. So the thing is, it's also same with time. Time is cyclical and spiraling. It's kind of hard to put that in words. But the thing is, now because we're expanding our consciousness, we are basically understanding time is different, no more linear. You see, we're moving beyond the three-dimensional perception of time. There's just tiny fraction, tiny aspect of how we can see, how we can sense time. It's not really just an illusion, but it's a tiny part of it. And that's why we say it's an illusion, because it's not the whole. You say, so the thing is, then you move out of it and you get even the bigger cycle. And the bigger cycle, I think Saul calls it galactic change. And then you have the galactic cycle, which is the half of this cycle is the galactic change, which is also occurring. And this is once every 108 million, how many thousand years? I don't know, but you have these cycles. So the more you expand outwards, I'm not here to talk about numbers. If you're interested in that, you can read Sal's book. But I'm here to talk about the basic principle of understanding these cycles. The further out you spread out, the more you raise the awareness, the more broader you actually perceive everything. And that's what it might seem, wow, so old, so wide, so many light years away, but it's not about that. It's just more all-encompassing. So this is really easy to understand. So what happens, in the precession? The planet will be moved to a certain direction. The planet is a toroidal field, like you yourself are also a toroidal field. It's hard for me to pronounce this, I'm really sorry. So we all have this structure, this nature, because this is what I call our personal vortex, the toroidal field. So when the planet, it's like it has a hole inside and then the energy spreading outwards in waves like a big donut. And then when you really shift, you will be aligning towards a certain star or quasar, something like that, different planetary bodies. And then that star, if it's directed directly like this, aligned with Earth and the poles, the light will move through it. So when it reaches the core of the Earth, it will start beaming into it and then spreading through Earth's vortices and then through all the Earth meridians. It's like a grid, through the great grid of Mother Earth and our own personal grid as well. It's the same process and it happens naturally. Once this happens, it will spread throughout the entire planet. And with the precession, when we look at the precession cycle, within its duration, if we look at it like through a linear time frame, it will last for 3 days. But then the whole integration through the whole entire planet will keep lasting. No one basically on this planet knows the entire time of this integration. We just all know it's happening, but no one knows the entire time of it. So what is happening is this then, makes the impact of us aligning to the energy that really streamed in. So it's the same kind of thing which we see in astrology. We say Earth, Moon square, or trine, or things like that, or oppositions, things like that. Basically, you have two planetary bodies. You can imagine holes in them, through their south, north poles. And if they align a certain way, if you imagine the light coming, if you had like a ball, this is how it's explained in the book. If you had like a ball with holes and you would, push it upwards, extend it, reach it towards the sun, the light would shine through it, and it would reflect a certain elliptic circle. The rays that emanate from it, from that hole, will kind of like create an elliptic circle. So that would be how it's moving. And then the same thing is happening here. If the planets are aligning, then the energy is absorbed, But, it's a interaction of two planetary bodies. It's not just Earth receiving that. But here on Earth, we view it as here on Earth. So the energies are like intermingling, interacting, and creating something. So every time you get a co-creation of a certain energy, absorption of certain energy, then the manifestation of that energy will come into being on this planet, into physical form, as it is right now. So you see, this is why this whole process of grand alignment is a very energetical process. It can be really understood through electromagnetic principles. And because the pole, not the pole, the magnetic field, of Earth is weakened, the energy is more streaming in. That's the whole reason for it. That's the whole reason of it, But the weakening of the field has to do with the tilt. So, like I say, I'm not a physicist, but I understand these principles from a sense of really feeling the energies and why it's really happening this way, and how really everything has its divine structure. No movement of any planetary body is coincidental. Pardon me. So here's the thing. This is how time really is structured, how we are moving from tiny perception to grander perception. So the more we are aligned and attuned to all happening within that divine will, so to say, divine plan, we will see everything as coexisting as one part of the other. Everything is playing itself out perfectly. There cannot be any coincidences. If we, for instance, on a soul collective decide on something, it will be aligned, manifested directly in form. So yesterday, on our solstice experience, we created a beautiful sacred solstice mandala. I said my crystals finally need a purpose. We placed them on like this certain positioning, and I was really, really guided to position them in exactly that kind of way. For all those of you who are not on Facebook, I would like to I like to share the mandala. You can really still go on my Facebook page. I will share the link. But what you can do is you can really read about what's happening. But if you don't want, I'll read it here anyway. So what we were doing, we were guided to create a really special sacred crystal mandala. And we assigned a special purpose to it. We also put it outside to energize and to be filled with the divine light coming in straight from our source. The mandala holds a special meaning that we source from spirit. So it kind of goes like this. You can look at the photo. In the center of the circle, there is a twin flame clear crystal quartz with 2 rose quartz crystals by its side. So what this represents is the one polarizing, we have the source of all, and then it's one polarizing into 2 within 1, which creates the third energy matrix. So this then creates a triangle, and you can see it on the mandala. The triangle, let me see it. This then creates a triangle merging with the diamond-shaped clear fluoride crystal, which is at the top, which represents one light body, a perfected light being. These crystals are surrounded by 13 mountain crystals from my own mountains. And they are representing a circle, meaning the constant connection and returning back to source, which is what the number 13 energetically represents, source. The circle then extends outwards, representing spirit manifesting into form, building another cycle of creation. So when you reach out, spirit is already manifesting into form, becoming different, becoming creation. There are 4 pillars of transformation around it, because creation constantly changes and shifts. These were purple crystals we used. They were held together by the crystal grid of divine connection, which is the crystals we use are different. So for divine connection, we used purple and clear crystals. Divine communication, blue crystals. Divine grace, pastel color crystals. and divine physicality, which is dark grounding crystal. So they all have a certain meaning. And especially when you say it like that, you already programmed them to hold that vibration in that space. These then extend outwards again, moving further, representing the stabilization and unification of the form, held together by the 4 pillars of divine love, which were 4 big rose quartz crystals, which represent, and some mountain crystals also laid there as a grid. They're further stabilized and held together by the protection pillars. So next to them, you have protection pillars, which represent angelic protection, angelic crystals, angelite crystal, Archangel Michael's protection and protection from the archangelic realms, Sugilit, I don't know what it's called in English, Earth Keeper and elemental protection from smoky quartz, and astral protection, which is lapis lazuli crystal. So if you see it like that, if you know the meaning of these, you know that these are to protect our feelings and some intuition. From archangels are etheric, so higher senses. From elementals and earth keepers, actions and deeds, so our more physical expressions, and our thoughts and our thinking from the astral protection. So through that, we also dedicate this mandala to all Ascension pioneers out there. And that's really what we were just so guided to do. That was the only thing we did yesterday, was just do the mandala and to just rest. And we were in gratitude and receiving mode. So like I said, this was the 13 gateway, and you can read that about this. I won't further explain it if someone else already explained about it, because I'm always guided to create something that is still not placed there. I don't like to repeat things that others already said. So you can see that there. You can read Kara's wonderful note. It is beautiful. And like I said, the 3-day period of time, why it is so? Because of the certain galactic alignments that take place, and because of the duration. So for instance, the duration of the precession is 3 days. Basically, it's 27 hours. So you have like the central point. For instance, in Sal's books, this is explained as midnight on my time. So basically 11 p.m. GMT. We are GMT +1 here in Slovenia. And this is the strongest. And then 36 hours on one side and to the other side of this hour. And this is basically the time when these energies are just streaming in, constantly flowing in, when this is the time of direct alignment. Because if you look at it, if there's this point called Earth and then the extension, the grander it is, the more time it lasts. So the galactic alignment, which is 100 million, I think, years, yes. Yes, 108 million years. I remember that one. Will take longer. So the days of the duration between the galactic alignment, I think they're around 100 years or something. I don't remember because I didn't read that part yesterday. But of course, because it's a wider cycle, the moment you're streaming those energies through the center will be longer. You see? If you look at it like a circle, you have like a tiny circle, and your Earth, and Earth will be streaming through that direct alignment will be streaming these energies, and the circle will be a certain size. So the duration of that stream, if you see like sun is shining and you're streaming the energies from the sun, and it lasts a certain period of time. And then a certain period of time, you're moving out from the sun and there's no more light coming in from those holes, you see? So you see, this is the duration of these 3-day period time frame. It's because of the alignment. It takes a certain cycle and a certain time frame. If you say like 26,000 years, it will last 3 days. But the galactic alignment, which is even further expanded, even a bigger cycle, you will see it like it will take longer. And we'll also within that cycle, because it's a cycle within the cycle within the cycle. So now these things are happening in a way simultaneously. And the galactic alignment takes longer. That's why you see from its center point, you see to the left and to the right, it's strengthened. And we're moving into that alignment in a few years, I think, as well. So it takes a bit longer. And this all has to do with the establishment of the golden age, which doesn't just come, during one day. But the precession, which is the streaming of that energy directly from that alignment with the galactic core, the grand central sun, is when it's streaming the energies is 3 days because of the grandness of the cycle. This is the simplest way I can really explain it. I'm trying. It's very easy for me to understand it through the divine logic, but it's not so easy to explain it in human language. And I hope I was able to do that. But I really recommend reading Sal's book for more understanding on this. I already received a few stories, your personal sacred solstice experiences. I hope to receive more. But like I said, I will be drawing someone special who will receive the book from Dolores Cannon on Christmas. So in celebration of my own Christmas and holiday joy with my family, I'll also be doing this. We will be doing this. And like I said, I hope that you receive just that pure inner moments, you know, to just not receive them, but allow yourself to be in them in that receiving mode. For instance, when I was listening to Magenta's video and I was tuning in and she was talking about the golden ascended master coming there and what they give you and what you feel. And there's like this golden leaf of paper and what you see on them. And the moment she said that and I was closing my eyes, I saw the letter P, you know, pi. And I'm like, why pi? And then my beloved moves in and he starts talking about sacred geometry and everything. And he says, oh, look, I showed them this mandala sketcher book. You know, it's like from my mom because she draws this beautiful sacred mandala, soul mandalas. And he's looking through and he says, oh, look, this is pi. This is pi. I'm like, what? You know, he says, look, this is pi. And I'm like, wait a minute, I just had this yesterday. You know, I saw pi. Instantly, I saw that symbol on that gold piece of paper. And he said, yeah, that's the basic symbol and basic meaning, the purpose, you know, the structure of all life, of all creation. And we don't know so many things still, you know, and how sacred geometry is applied in every life form and all of creation. And I'm thinking, everything is about pi. So no wonder I got this. It's total fusion and merging with the divine principles, getting back that divine remembrance, understanding that from that higher level. It was really beautiful experience for me. And this is what my solstice was like. It was very peaceful, just simplicity. And we are here to simplify our lives. It's basically just take it one step at a time, make adjustments only through inner guidance. Don't rush into anything. Fear, we've moved so past beyond it. Imagine that there's also people who are now experiencing the hype, the fear, because they have moved so deeply into it that that's all they see. They still see the solstice as an experience of fear. You know, they were seeking for shelters, you know, wanting to give money away, wanting to give possessions away, which, you know, maybe it served the purpose. Of course it did. There are no coincidences in divine creation. But all those who have been anchoring from within this peace, joy, bliss, high understanding, higher awareness are now receiving just that. And this is what the galactic alignment is about. What you take with it, you take with it, and you make a decision, a conscious soul-based decision. And there's a lot of souls who won't be able to cope with these energies in the recent upcoming years, but this is all good because there's no judgment, there's only choice. So everyone will be choosing where to be, how to do, how to act, where we will be doing, what work we will be doing. Like Kara says, we're going to be here still doing our work, still sharing, holding the higher frequency space. And today I had this interesting dream of looking like I look now, but I was basically 140, I think, years old. I'm like, I'm 140? Is that possible? And it was so funny because then I was reminded of the fact that I was thinking about this because my mom asked me, she said, I was reading in Saul's new book that, because she was reading it online, I sent her this link, and she said, it says that the golden age will be established sometimes during the 2100. And I said, I don't know, Mom, no one knows. It's like we're choosing, timelines are still adjusting, it's all being chosen. And then she said, well, maybe we'll come back, you know, in new bodies then. I said, maybe you'll never die. You know, you really don't know because the lifespan here on Earth used to be so much longer. You don't even know. We forgot. But now our bodies are going to shift, but they're gradually going to adjust. It's not like you're just going to move from basic average 80-year lifespan to a lifespan of 3,000 years. It just doesn't happen like this. So it will keep shifting through generation after generation. And we're only here to share that truth, to embody and to be the truth of the source here and now. And I always say that, you know, when it's my time to leave the planet, I will know it because I'll have this great peace that I have established what I came here to do, and that's it. In the meantime, We're just so joyful that we're here right now because we were the ones, remember, we were the ones who went through the galactic equator alignment. We were the ones who were here exactly when it shifted. And it's not about me, thinking, oh, I'm so much in ego because I was here and not others. It's just a matter of choice, and we have chosen to be here. And it's so much more amazing when we share it with one another. So if you're guided, please share your solstice experience with us, and we'll share it on our Facebook page, and you can be selected to win a free book. And have a merry holidays, everyone, and I'll talk to you soon. Much love. Bye.